Cut. He need cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Katagita, all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute, or use the acronym NACD. They're on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis.
Great partners in Native Roots Radio, and we have the CEO, Robert Lilligren, on every Thursday. Hey, speaking of every Thursday, every Friday we have State Senator Mary Kuensh on, but we asked her if she could come on and speak to what happened this weekend. We're all sad here, and we really, really appreciate State Senator Mary Kuensh coming on a few days early, and you'll have your normal slot on Friday, but I thought it'd be really important to touch base with you and check in on you and check on what's happened in our community. Welcome, State Senator.
Thank you, Wopulatonka. It's been a really hard couple of days, not just for myself, but for legislators in general, for elected officials, for our communities, our state, our nation. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, well, you know, we thought about you right away and reached out as soon as we heard on Saturday, and you were okay. So all this kind of transpired early in the morning Saturday, like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm sure people reached out to you, and you did precautions with your family. Can you talk us through that a little bit and what you heard right away?
Sure. Well, yeah, it started in the wee hours of the morning. We were contacted by our leadership. I'm an assistant majority leader in the Minnesota Senate. And so our leader and administrators reached out to us to let us know something had happened. There weren't a lot of details, and we didn't know exactly everybody that was involved in the shootings, but just as a warning and to be alert. And we kind of did the phone tree to let others know the circumstances, so that the two. And what we're talking about is Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot by a gunman in the early hours of Saturday morning, and then he left there and went over to the Speaker Emeritus for our Minnesota House of Representatives, Melissa Hortman, where she and her husband were assassinated. We didn't know all the details. At one point, we didn't know who was alive, who wasn't, but it looked like there was something going on targeting legislators. And so we wanted to be extra careful and let each other know what was going on. And so we all sat tight, listened for any updates, anything like that. And in a very short time, many of us were contacted by our local municipal police to check in on us, to make sure we were okay, and let us know that they were monitoring the situation, but they were also monitoring our communities as well. And I, for one, want to thank the New Brighton police. They were very responsive and had a number of officers around my house in a very short time. They set up surveillance around my house, but they also, were we were counseled or suggested that if we had a safe place to go, maybe we wanted to leave our homes. And so I did. I left my home and I went to a safe spot. I really didn't want to get my neighbors involved in this. We just didn't know what or who we were dealing with. And it was just better that we weren't home. And so I did. I left for a few days and went somewhere safe and monitored and was kept up to date as best they could as time went on. And again, thank you to the New Brighton Police who reached out, updated us, made sure we were okay. Yeah, it was a most bizarre couple of days, I can tell you that.
Can't imagine.
Right. And Wendy and I were really flipping the coin about going to the Capitol that night too, because the governor, for safety reasons, told us not to go to the march
The
at the
protest,
Capitol.
the No Kings protest at the Minnesota State Capitol, but we really felt like in the honor of the people who were hurt and killed that we needed to, needed to be there.
Well, I'm glad there wasn't any violence or there wasn't any retaliation to people that were there.
Yeah.
We were counseled not to attend.
Mhm.
And, that makes perfect sense. But
Sure.
those of you that did go out there to show that solidarity, that was, it was not lost on us. Let's say that much.
Right on. And the timing was terrible because it was almost like they wanted us not to go, the assassin and the big plan that they had. So on the same day, we took notice that wasn't a coincidence, and we needed to follow through. Like 80,000 other Twin Cityans went to the Capitol, and all the other No Kings I saw all over the state that people were there. And so it's just the beginning of this. I mean, this rhetoric that's happening nationally is really frightening, and now we're seeing big globs of action that's coming from just this negative stuff from Washington.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I haven't paid attention to what the federal response is to any of this. I don't know if there is any. Minnesota, almost all of our, we have 3 of our federal officials are, is it 3 or 4 are Democrats, and of course, I'm sure they're hearing things at the federal level, but I don't know if the president has said anything about this or if any of his, Republican leadership or anybody has. I don't know that any of our Republican leadership here in Minnesota has said anything, to tell you the truth. I never thought of that.
Well, there's been some negative responses locally here that I don't want to get into the negativity because we hear it so much daily. I just want to really check on with you and also your processing, because I know Wendy and I are peripherally involved with this by just supporters and how we feel right now. And we really put out tobacco for you, Mary, and all our other political friends here.
I can't even tell you how many people. I mean, I'm pretty sure the day of Saturday, I sat and texted reply after reply after reply after reply after reply. I mean, all day yesterday and today, yesterday, Saturday, and today, people are still reaching out from all over the country. I mean, even international people I know internationally have reached out to me with words of comfort and, kind of horror of the situation, not wanting, not asking what's going on, give us a buzz. It was like, I'm there for you. If you need anything, please let me know. Our prayers are with you. We're thinking of you. The thoughtfulness is just unbelievable.
It's lovely.
Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kuensh, a little special edition of Monday at Native Roots Radio, and we're going to talk a little bit more. I know you're really busy, but we appreciate you stopping in and letting our audience know, just knowing how you're doing, and we really appreciate it. Hey, Wendy, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back.
Stay with us.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
I love that tagline. Hey, it's a special edition of Native Roots Radio right now, and we have State Senator Mary Kuensh, who's usually on our Friday show, and she's been generous enough to come on and talk a little bit about what's happened this weekend, and also just talking maybe about the legacy of your colleague. And I really want to see how you're taking care of yourself. I know it's been a long session, a long, hard session, and kind of ending it with this has been really tough on you and everybody involved.
Yeah, it has been really very, very difficult. Luckily we have a really great caucus. Our Senate DFL caucus has been really supportive of each other. We are all in a huge hurt, but we've been able to stay in constant communication and dispelling, inaccuracies, checking in on each other. It's been unifying in a lot of ways, but we all are hurting, hurting in our own ways.
Mm-hmm.
And, I appreciate the work at those at the Capitol that are working to provide us with the kind of maybe mental health support. Should we reach out for it or need to talk to somebody about these things? This isn't something easy. It's not something we just have to kind of push through or, buckle up, and be tough sort of thing. These are real emotions. I mean, we almost lost one of our members, John Hoffman, and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a really tough session to begin with the loss of our very, very special beloved Carrie Dietzig, who passed away early in session. So, it's still really raw for many of us. And then there are some of us that served in the Minnesota House with Melissa Hortman. When I was first elected to the Minnesota House, she was just elected as our leader in the speaker in the House. And, she was a great leader. I mean, people will say these things about, people, but really and truly, she was a leader. She led and built such cohesiveness within her caucus. It was amazing. I remember soon after I was elected as a newbie, she asked me to join her for lunch, and we sat for about 2 hours and ate lunch together. And she asked me about what my priorities were, what I wanted to work on, how the caucus could support us. When I came quickly to realize that our caucus and the legislature as a whole were woefully lacking in understanding what goes on in Indian country. And anything about, tribal relations or what the struggles were at that time. And I could go to her and her team, and, we worked on making sure that Indian aid, American Indian education aid, was included. The Republicans, when they were in the majority, weren't going to include that in their budget, and we got them to do that. I brought up a lot of Native issues. Remember, it was in the House that I passed the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force. And Melissa was a huge champion. And there were, again, I was new. I didn't know how things work. I don't know how to start a task force, right? And going to Melissa and to her team for guidance, like, what do I do? How does this work? And she's like, you're a legislator. You tell us you tell them what you want. Like with them, I'm talking about governmental agencies and that sort of thing. She really chipped in and worked on our behalf to make sure that did get passed as well. So that was under her tenure. Her heart was with people, with people who struggled the most. She was a lawyer, so she had a keen legal mind. She understood about how to set things up for success and how to set people up for success as well, and was very, very fundamental in building women leadership. I don't know if you remember that incident, Sorry Not Sorry. Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And it happened in the Minnesota House while we were in the minority, and we were on the floor in the House, and there were like next to no Republicans, let alone Republican men, on the floor. And we were talking about the rights of American Indians and those that are struggling so heavily. And these guys were all in the back in the retiring room watching the Twins game.
Yeah.
And they should have been in their seats legislating and listening and learning. And she called them out. Very bravely, she called them out. And we just were in awe of her, the fact that she did that. And then the Republican leadership said, oh, she was so disrespectful and rude to us. She needs to apologize. And I remember her coming to us and saying, you guys, should I? Was I in the wrong? Was I inappropriate? And we're like, hell no. And so she came back out and she said, nope, sorry, not sorry. I'm not apologizing. And I think like that was a really defining moment for her. And the fact that she had she knew that the caucus had her back on these kind of things. And she just built out her leadership from there. And it's been really incredible. And I'm so proud to have worked with her, worked alongside her, been mentored by her, and to see what she actually grew into and the kind of, it wasn't power, it was really cohesion and helping people understand how important it was that the caucus stick together on these really important issues. And we all saw her crying when she explained why she had to vote yes on a bill to withdraw health care for undocumented Minnesotans. Yep. And I mean, that was raw. She was in pain, as were many of us, but she did it to ensure that the other bills got passed, that we were able to balance our budget, and that we did our job. And that was a huge personal, emotional, and professional concession from her. And we owe her a depth of thanks that we can never repay.
Wow, what a great tribute.
What a legacy, really, that she left, and it's just horrifying that this took place. It's just horrifying. I blame one person for this. One person.
Yeah.
I don't even have to.
We don't even have to
say their name.
I know state senators stopping in here on her off day with Native Roots Radio. I just want to ask you what you're doing and your colleagues are doing for your own mental health, because again, I kind of started the whole show going, Wendy and I were crushed, and we're more peripheral about all this. Of course we've met all these great politicians that work for the people, but you were close to them and worked with them every day, and also just a trauma of possibly somebody coming to your house, if you think through the whole story, right?
I mean, I got up and I went to all my windows and doors and didn't even want to peek out,
Yeah.
Didn't even want to peek out, but I think a lot of us turn to our families. I know I turned to my family. My children were horrified. My family, I come from this large family.
Right.
There was so much outreach, and let us know what we can do to help you. If you need another place to go, if you need a safe place, come here, or I know somewhere that you can go. So we've, I think a lot of us reached out to our loved ones who recognize the need and the care for each and every one of us. And as I said, they are setting up some mental health opportunities for us at the Senate. I know for me, last night we got together for a Father's Day gathering, and just for a little while, you could almost sort of forget about it, just for a second. But I'm happy to say that there are many support systems out there for us, and I know that there are a bajillion people I can reach out to if I need it. So I just want to say Wopi Latonka to all of them, all of you that have reached out to me, and please do so and say your prayers.
Thank you so much. And I know this is just so sudden afterwards, and I really appreciate you talking to our listeners like this, and letting them know that you're okay, and then also a great tribute that you just had. I really appreciate you and coming on today, especially.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Senator Mary.
Tina Gigi.
Hey.
Or visit snapconstruction.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. June is here, which means you might be having a graduation party at your house soon. Summer also means sleepovers. Your kids are going to be at the playground, at the water park, at the beach. There's going to be a lot of mess coming into the house over the summer, and you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to make sure your home is in order for the summer. And since June is here, it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home or business, including carpet, tile, hardwood, rugs, upholstery, and air ducts. This month, take 20% off all services when you call my friends at Zero Res 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com. Just tell them you want the AM 950 special. Their prompt, courteous team will come out and take care of you. Again, that's 20% off all services this month. Go to ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res, backward or forward, spells the same.
Boldly Challenging Ableism is here to go where some people won't. I'm Katrina Simons, and every week I'm digging into the real impact of ableism, breaking down myths, calling out barriers, and pushing for a world where disabled people belong in every space. With my work at the University of Minnesota's Institute on Community Integration and a lifetime of lived experience, I'm diving into everything from employment and housing to justice and culture. And yeah, I bring some humor and heart along the way. Catch us Sundays at 2 p.m. right here on AM 950, or listen anytime by finding Boldly Challenging Ableism on YouTube or your favorite podcast app.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms this evening with an overnight low of 64, then Tuesday partly sunny with a high of 80. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Hey, this portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Trading Posts. Shop now at cause-cart.shop. And search Native Roots to find You Resist gear, and Pinagigi for all your support.
Hey, we have our friend Dr. Stately. Hey, thanks, Jalisa. Our friend Dr. Stately is stuck in traffic. So Wendy, I asked Wendy to jump back on with us. And
okay,
Wendy,
great.
we were talking about State Senator Mary Kuensh. And
yeah. So I wanted to bring up which a lot of people haven't brought up, but their dog Gilbert. So the Hortmans, who so tragically perished in this
assassination. Let's just call it what it is,
I'm sorry.
right?
Right. So Gilbert was their dog. I'm sorry. I just ran in from the other room.
Right.
So
Thanks,
Gilbert
Wendy.
was also dead after being shot by Bolter. My heart aches for the Hoffmans and their family, and for the Hortmans family who lost Melissa and Mark, and now also their family dog Gilbert. Melissa and Mark Hortman volunteered with Helping Paws, a nonprofit group that trains service dogs for veterans living with PTSD and other disabilities, mentally and physical. And after 2.5 years of training and love, Gilbert experienced a career change and was adopted by the Hortmans, becoming a cherished member of their family. And during Saturday's shooting, Gilbert was shot and humanely euthanized due to the severity of his injuries. So I just want to bring that up too. And you know what? I can't even imagine what their children are going through. It's really just impossibly tragic. I can't even fathom it. I think about this like all day long. It's giving me anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of other people. We talked to Mary at length earlier in the show. This is just heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. But I did want to bring up the part of and mention Gilbert. He was a family member and a cherished, loved member of their family.
Absolutely.
And he's gone too. So, So just wanted to say that.
Whenever I see on social media, if a family dog or cat or any kind of animal dies, I always put a heart and say family, because they are family.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
obviously this dog grabbed their heart when they were training it. And I don't know if it was what do they call foster failure or whatever, but
could have been a foster failure, or maybe Gilbert just didn't want to be a service animal. Maybe he didn't know how to, open the door with a rag tied around it, or open the refrigerator, or do whatever he was supposed to, do to be a service animal. Maybe he failed at that, but
Yeah, I think it's important, Wendy. And, you've been talking about our sacred animals for so long here on Native Roots Radio. And I think it's really important that we talk about this too, because
Yeah.
there's grieving going on
Mhm.
for not only the human beings but all beings during this tragedy and tragic time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I just want to bring up the fact too. I don't know, you know, because I just hopped on. I don't know if you guys brought this up, but like there's reports saying, and I don't know if the numbers are correct, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there were like 14 million people across the United States at these protests for No Kings, and they reported something like 8,600 people who attended the parade. So, you know, Trump's parade. So hopefully, you know, the tide is changing. We have something to look forward to. We have November 6th, 2026, and that's when we get out there and we could vote for our House representatives and our senators. And we need to change the seat house in Washington.
Yeah.
We need to, you know, change that so that we have the majority and we could stop this fool. We could stop this fool in the White House, because this is just getting too much. And I really, I'm hopeful after all these tragedies and all these crazy things that he just does on a daily basis, that this will stop. I also wanted to share something also. I'm going to bring this up. I have it in my notes, that you know, a lot of people are on the internet saying that they hope that this Bolter guy will not be pardoned by the Trump administration after he's, you know, totally convicted. And a lot of people are worried about that, and I am too. People have been saying that if he is state convicted, Trump won't be able to touch him unless there's federal charges. If there's federal charges that will come forward to him, then, you know, of course, Trump can do whatever he wants. But also, I have a list here, and I don't really want to go through this list because it's just too much. I have a list of people and what they did, and the people that Trump pardoned, and it's really astonishing. I don't think I want to go through the names and the list, but it's really just a horrible thing. So 33 Senate seats and all 435 seats in the House representatives are up for re-election in 2026. Now you know what you have to do in 2026. It seems like a long time, right? I think it's around 18 months.
Yeah.
You know, he attacks the free press, right? He doesn't even want Sesame Street on. He's going after NPR. He's going through all this. You know, it's just terrible. Here's a fun fact, though. Can I keep going?
Yeah.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah,
So
you
here's
are.
a fun fact.
Wendy. Thank
This
you.
is the first time in history that there's been simultaneous protests in all 50 states against a sitting president.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, let me get the applause button on that.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, I got to say something
Thank
too.
you, Wendy.
We talked, thanks, Jalisa. We talked about this a little bit off the camera or off the radio show. Is that if this was this guy that got caught for the assassination, if this was a BIPOC brown or black person, he'd be dead.
I believe that
They wouldn't have brought him
I
in.
believe that to be true.
I do too. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because as we were going through this show and as I'm hearing Wendy's words and Senator Kuensh, those were one of the things that I'm like, I'd like to bring up, and you beat me to it.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, Jalisa.
And even, well, I was even thinking about the photo, and I'm thinking about recent happenings with other people of color and, you know, great advocates, you know, how they're treated when they're arrested versus this person. I mean, of course, we don't know the context. We don't know if this person just surrendered, but you know, there's been a lot of people that have surrendered and have been in custody and they've still beat them down, right? So
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe that you know, just walking normally and being arrested. I mean, and exactly how would this be treated if this wasn't a person of color? If this is just unbelievable.
Yeah, didn't look like a hair was out of place when we saw the pictures with the handcuffs on, and that was the first thing I went to. Was like, well, he didn't get Rodney King, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Jelaine actually made, for our listeners, if you don't know, that's my sister. My twin
My daughter and Wendy's
was the
stepdaughter. Oh,
one-
wow.
yes, family. She was the one to bring that up, and we were talking about that today. So thank you for bringing that up.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it just crazy, Wendy and Jalisa,
Mhm.
that we're here talking about this, but we talk about too the way ICE handles people, the way Trump wants, when he was running for president, he wanted people to go beat up people in the audience when he was out there that were against him, and that's it's fascist. And what were we talking about when we were there, Wendy? That 3% of the country needs to in order to
Yeah, so I think we didn't know the exact number. I think maybe it was 3.5 or
Yeah.
2.8, but
Yeah.
that's what you need of the amount of people in the whole population to take down a dictator. And we saw that at the Minnesota State Capitol on No King's protest that day. So there were a lot of people there. So
well, I think there would be a lot more people. Go ahead, Jalisa.
Oh, I just wanted, just for our listeners and just for myself, what do you mean by take down?
Or to overthrow a dictator.
Okay.
So if there's a dictator coming up, like in 1933 when Hitler was just coming up and he was doing all this stuff, exactly really the same as Trump's doing right now. You need at least 3.5% of the population to fight against him to stop him in his tracks. So that's what I really want to say. Yeah.
And I truly believe in those lines too, is that we would have had more people at the Capitol, I think, because the governor and the state patrol told people not to come in.
Yeah.
And it looked like the people that were putting it on were surprised at all the people that were there.
Yeah, and all the people that were putting on, and all the speakers and all the singers and everybody who had to say something and to get up there and speak, a lot of them got up there and said, listen, I've been working on this speech for a really long time. I had everything planned out, but because of these horrific tragedies that happened this morning, we're changing gears. And they all these speakers just came up and just talked off the top of their heads and from their hearts. And they threw their speeches away in the garbage because nothing what they were going to say was appropriate anymore after the tragedy of that morning.
Yeah, that's right. And then some of the people that were playing music didn't have the rest of their band because they thought it was canceled.
Yeah.
Like our favorite punk rocker, Wendy.
And listen, Robert, you and I after everything and after we did hear the governor and the state patrol saying, please don't go and please don't, go to the state capitol. We were kind of like, should we go? Shouldn't we go? What should we do? We felt a little, I don't want to say afraid. We were cautious. And, while we were even there, it felt a little bit, like
I was looking around more than I usually do.
We were looking around for like suspicious people or people who had masks
Bad
on
actors,
bad actors. So we're a little nervous about it.
This is Native Roots Radio, and it's a family affair right now. And we're going to be back after this short break, Wendy.
Stay with us.
Stay with us, yes.
Minnesota needs diverse teachers who represent our students and communities. Explore teaching degree options at Metro State University's Urban Education Info Session in person at the Minneapolis campus on June 24th. Metro State's programs offer pathways to bachelor's degrees designed for those committed to serving urban communities. Visit campus, get an overview of teaching programs, and meet with an advisor. Sign up at metrostate.edu/urban teacher program. Become a teacher, shape the future. Metro State University.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Your heart beats for generations. Take care of it.
There's a lot that we can do to take care of ourselves. And so I think it's important to take the smaller steps and break it down into more manageable pieces, because the little steps leads to big changes.
Every beat of your heart tells a story of love, resilience, and hope. For Indigenous women, taking care of your heart means creating more moments with the ones you cherish. Let's protect that story. Learn more at hennepin.us/heart-beats.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Hey, in this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our Minnesota wolf population. Say no to the hunts.
No! See how I said no?
Yeah.
In the howl?
Definitely.
Maybe I should start doing that too with you.
Right on. Hey, Wendy, I think we were talking during the break, and we wanted to maybe switch gears. You have some fun facts or something kind of mellow?
I have some fun animal stuff if you'd like me to lighten up the
switcheroo
a little bit here. Yeah.
You don't mind.
Okay.
And
yeah.
If you have a story or fun facts that
Okay.
Jalisa and I can guess, because
there you go.
Awesome.
Okay, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay.
Hey, wait! I want to introduce my awesome, beautiful wife, Wendy, who's been an animal advocate for many years, and she's one of the founders of Native Roots Radio and Pilots Progressive Party.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I am a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, formerly known as the Humane Society of the United States. And I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And it's always my pleasure to do that. So, I just, on my social media feed, I just look at funny things and I kind of save them in my notes and share them on the show. And people kind of like it. So,
I do.
Yeah. So there's this guy who works from home and he keeps naming his dog Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
And he has pictures of his dogs every month doing different things. He's got a ball in his mouth. He's got a squeaky toy. He's got a little toy. So I thought that was kind of cute that if you work from home, you could name your pet as Employee of the Month. So I thought that was kind of fun,
That's good.
Yeah. And, I talk about Wanda constantly on the show, but, she's getting a little older and she loves to go for car rides. We can't even say the word car because she just goes ballistic. But I read something on the internet that said, remember, a car ride with the windows down is a great enrichment for older dogs. So
what does enrichment mean?
Enrichment means that it helps their body and soul and mind.
Oh,
yeah, it's
enriching.
Yes, it's enriching their soul. So they get to smell the smells. They get to look out the window. I have a really cute picture of Wanda. Her head's out the window and her little ear is flopped up in the air and she's just sniffing away. And she really loves that. So let's see what else I have here. I have a couple of things here. So a rusty patched bumblebee used to be common in 28 states, and now it's on the endangered species list. And why? Because of pesticides, habitat loss, and lawn culture.
I guess that could be a fun fact, but not too fun.
Well, it's not fun, but it is we take Wanda for a walk every single day.
Twice
every day, mostly twice a day. And, we pass everybody's house.
Oh,
and, these people have these beautiful lawns. Really, I just want to roll around it and myself because they look so beautiful and soft. But these lawns are covered with all kinds of pesticides,
And
getting rid of the weeds, getting
Right.
rid of the
bugs,
bugs.
the dandelions.
Yeah.
But then it goes into the river too. So we're all like, we live so close to the river. But since we've lived here in this neighborhood, in particular in St. Paul, Wendy, I feel like a lot of people have gone crazy with their yards and let them go and become more bee friendly.
Let them go. That's
I haven't cut the grass.
having a messy yard, but yeah, it's
Jalisa,
totally true.
I haven't cut the grass in 3 years because we have no grass now.
Yeah,
I love it. Maybe we need to do the front yard of the Johnsons next, which for our listeners,
yeah, it's really great. I could sit out front, and I do see so many like monarchs and all kinds of those little white butterflies. I don't know what they're called. There's
Moths.
bees and it's really amazing. And they said that, these monarchs, especially, they travel and migrate for so long.
Same
And
with
they
the
just,
hummingbird.
they go through these deserts of just lawns where they can't find food and they can't, rest, and they can't find water. That's why they come to our house.
We see that one firefly too every year that's in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
I used to see thousands of them when I was a kid.
I just read an article.
go ahead, Steve.
I just read an article about fireflies. When we were kids, we used to catch them in jars, and they were millions of them. And now that it says that in our lifetime, they're going to be gone because of all the
pesticides.
Pesticides. Yeah.
I heard we're the last generations that will know.
That's right. I know.
So,
that'll see what?
Summer and Silas, will they grow up with that? I mean, that's like, those are such beautiful moments when you're out in the wilderness and you see those fireflies. I mean, there's so many great moments that you can think about in nature. And that's one of them for me as a kid, and just even as an adult. I mean, it's very sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. Summer and Silas may not get to experience that.
One of the positive things, Jalisa and Wendy, is we have like the fattest squirrels in the neighborhood in our backyard. All 13 of them that come every day and begging for food.
Oh my gosh, I know. We love it.
I loved back in the days. Now I think it's been more Mike and Jelaine. But when I would house sit for you all and take care of the animals, how there was like the specific of like throwing the peanuts in the backyard and like watching all the ducks. I mean, for our listeners, I am not exaggerating, like house sitting for all of their animals, whether it be their domestic animals or their yard, lot, or what do you say? But anyway, it's just a blast. The wildlife. That's what I was trying to say. The wildlife animals.
Yes, I know.
It's just fantastic.
Well, I have a couple of fun facts if you want to do them real quick.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can quiz Jalisa and I.
Let's talk
We got
about
3
an
minutes.
octopus. We're going to talk about an octopus. How many hearts does an octopus have? Do you know?
How many's octa?
Heart.
8 hearts.
That's
the
arms. That's
like
their arms. 8 octa. Hearts, they have 3 hearts.
I was gonna
and they have 8 arms. That's why they're called octopuses.
Yeah, but I thought you'd have a heart in each arm.
Oh,
That's
no. Oh, yeah. Well,
Did
maybe.
each arm. That's funny. Did you see that we have talked about that that Netflix documentary? Yeah, with the octopus.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
My octopus teacher.
Yeah. We love that.
I recommend it. It's
Yes.
definitely a good watch. Owls do not have eyeballs. They have eye tubes.
Oh.
Yeah. Polar bears
Yes.
have black skin, which helps them absorb heat from the sun to stay warm in the Arctic climate, and it's likely protects the bears from harmful UV rays. So if you shaved a white polar bear, its skin underneath would be black.
Yeah.
Yeah. A human brain operates on about 15 watts.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, it's not much. It's not much, right?
Yeah.
So we were just talking.
Some people it's less, I bet. Right?
I'm sure. Yeah.
That voted for Trump. Oh wow. Did I say that?
We were just talking about butterflies, and butterflies can taste with their feet using something called chemoreceptors to help them identify plants. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, I know. Dogs' sense of smell is about 100 times stronger than humans, but they have just one. They have just 1/6 our number of taste buds, so they could smell a lot better, but they don't taste as much as we do.
Well, I'm going to have some leftover food we had last night.
Yeah, Everest on Grand.
How about you,
That's
Jalisa?
a delicious Indian food, Tibetan, Nepali Indian food. Everest on Grand, St. Paul.
Well, I want to thank you, Wendy, for jumping on, and I want to thank State Senator Mary Kuensh for coming on. She's usually on Friday, but we wanted to talk to her and especially with what's going on. And Dr. Stately stuck in traffic. We hope that he makes it home safe. We know.
And Jalisa Mckee.
We want to thank Jalisa Mckee. That's right. And Wendy. And I'll thank myself. Oh, wow. This is Native Roots Radio. We are the 7th generation.
Your heart beats for generations.
Your heart is so many